Act, Town and Country Planning Act, etc., under which each one of the SEZs would be found to be illegal. Okay, so this is what this act has allowed them to do. It has opened up an avenue for illegality. Okay, and they would do all these things, show swimming pools as water bodies with fishes in it and God knows what. Okay, this is a scenario. The other thing which you would see if you go back to this map is that the concentration of the SEZs on agricultural land. The statement by the government that there would only be 0.5% of this SEZ would be set up, only 5% of agricultural land would be taken, has been found to be a lie. It's, as I said, around a total of 30,000 hectares of land has already been acquired for SEZs, and 1.22 lakh hectares have already been designated in principle for SEZs. So total around 1.5 lakh hectares of land, which is around 2.7% of our agricultural area. And in most cases, we are told that the SEZs are being set up on barren land, on land where there's no agriculture, etc. Now, this is a picture from the Shalboni SEZ in West Bengal before the land was acquired. Okay, you can see you can see if it is agricultural land or not. Right? So this is the situation where it is, and according to the estimates, when the number of, so this was in 2006, when the number of SEZs was 1/3 of the current number, close to 1.14 lakh farming households, okay, each comprising around 5 members, and an additional 82,000 farm workers' families, landless workers, which is the mainstay of our farming economy, who are dependent upon this farm for their livelihoods, will be displaced. Okay, so this is the number which was, you can multiply this by 3 or 4 maybe now. Okay, and we are thinking why we are having farmer suicides in India in the moment. Total loss of income to the farming and the farm worker families in astounding 2012 crore per year. Okay, so same thing. If you go to the POSCO area, which they are telling, which the government is telling, and which the Environment Ministry has given permission, clearance to, that it's a barren area, it is sandy area, and all the farmers who are there are encroachers. If you go and talk to them over there, the people will talk about an economy which is based on what they call in Odia, Dhano, Mino, Pano. Means Dhano means paddy, Mino means fish, and Pano means the betel nut. Okay, it's an economy which I know where people earn like 10,000 rupees per month just by selling betel nut leaves. Okay, betel leaves. Alright, and this is the area which they are going to set up this SEZ, evicting around 17,000 families. Okay, from their source of livelihood, and POSCO itself says that the total employment generation would be around 2,700. So this is a sort of even statistics which you can see. Okay, over there. Now coming to the next part. Okay, entire coastlines are being handed over to SEZs. If you look at the coastlines in this map, you would see the entire Andhra coastline, you can see dotted with SEZs, entire Tamil Nadu coastline, Karnataka coastline, Kerala coastline, Karnataka coastline, Maharashtra coastline. The entire coastlines are being given over to the SEZs, and as you can understand, this is because it is supposed to be export based. This is a very lucrative option. And what is being set up are these things which are called the PCPIRs, Petroleum, Petrochemical and Chemical Investment Regions, okay, to be set up along the coast of Andhra Pradesh, Gujarat, Orissa and West Bengal. Okay, one of them was supposed to be set up in Nandigram, that is the place where we learned how to fight against SEZs. Okay, the others are there. And then also, one of the unimaginable things, deltas and mouths of various rivers are being handed over to companies for setting up captive ports. Okay, so river mouths, complete a place where the river joins a sea, that entire place is being handed over to a company, and these places are naturally sheltered, as you can understand, because there are sandbars. Okay, so it is very easy to convert them into ports with minimum investment. Okay, and such as the Jatadhar River Delta is included in the proposed POSCO SEZ for setting up a captive port in Orissa. Okay, I have seen this thing at this place over there. It's a beautiful thing, and the interesting thing is that standing at this Jatadhar Delta, you can actually see the Paradip port. It is like 20 kilometers from there. Okay, so as you can understand, this is a company which wants a captive port, although there is a port just 20 kilometers from there. Okay, and it's a captive port, and when Raja permitted it, he wrote it as a minor port, but they have actually got approval for getting Cape-size vessels over here. Cape-size vessels are like the lakhs of tons vessels over there, because they are the only ones which can be used to export iron ore. And therefore, what these captive ports are going to do, as you can understand, would be used to export this raw material, what our friends, the famous brothers of Karnataka are doing over here, illegal basis, to do it on a legal basis now. Okay? Because these ports would now be completely under their control. Okay? Even though there are ports which are supposed to be developing ports nearby. Okay? So this is what the thing. And these PCPIRs are scary things. Means one word for them is scary. This is the Andhra Pradesh PCPIR. Okay? It will stretch for 140 kilometers along the Andhra Pradesh coast. One single unit, okay, a sovereign enclave you can call, stretching from Visakhapatnam to Kakinada along the Andhra Pradesh coast. Okay, all privately owned now. Okay, so industrial corridor abutting Krishna Godavari natural gas basin. So now you can understand why there is so much fight over the Krishna Godavari natural gas basin. Because there is this SEZ beside it, the export would be easy, and within this entire thing would be broken up into this 5 SEZ. All these pink things are SEZs over here. Okay, right. All these pink things, there would be 5 major SEZs over here, and there would be all the connections, links over here. And just south of it, from Kakinada till Vijayawada, again 10,000 hectares of land has been given to GMR to set up another SEZ. So nearly the entire Andhra coast is gone. Okay, so one by one, these coastal areas are going. And what are these PCPRs for? As I said, the PCPRs are for petrochemicals, chemicals, and petroleum investment regions. So these are the industries which are the most hazardous industries. Okay, these are the industries which nowadays don't get even clearance in the West, in the US or in Europe. These are the industries which will set up over here. Okay. On the one hand, they would kill the fisher folk there twice, because on one hand the land would be taken. Secondly, their effluents etc. would be released into the sea and would kill the fish, and which in that way their livelihood would also be lost. In that way, the fisher folk would be evicted twice, as I say, once from their lives and another from their livelihoods in this way. So this is what is happening in Andhra coast. You go to Orissa, again you see the sizes, 110 square miles in coastal districts of Orissa. Means just the mere sizes of it are scary. Selection criteria, feedstock, stock sourcing area and sea connectivity. So refinery petrochemical complex is nearby, so it's easy to export, but again the effluents etc. will be released into the sea. Hinterland connectivity, proximity to water sources in the region, very important, I'll come to that. Availability of developable land, this is the sort of land we are talking about in POSCO, where 17,000 families are dependent on, okay? And proximity to coast for marine disposal of treated effluents. It's even given in their own presentation. This is not what I write. This is what the governments are writing on their own websites. Okay, as if the sea is a place where you can dispose of anything. And to set up this PCPIRs, the Environment Ministry is being forced to dilute the provisions of the Coastal Zone Regulatory Act. It is called the CRZ Act, the Coastal Regulatory Zone Act, which prevents or which forbids various types of construction activities for 20 kilometers along the coast. Okay, there was a serious attempt in 2008 to convert it into a Coastal Zone Management Act. So whenever you see the word regulatory being changed to management, your alarm red flag should be up. It means that major dilution is in the way. So that was what they were trying to do. The Gujarat PCPR. This is, in my version, the most dangerous one, because this is specifically being planned for setting up industries by American companies like DuPont, Raytheon, etc., which do not get permission to manufacture in the US because their products are so hazardous. Okay, so this is a different model, Gujarat. So this will be combining existing Dahej and Vilayat Estate propose multi-purpose SEZ. There are existing chemical petro units. Now these companies are going to come and open units over here. Okay, these are very hazardous chemicals. This would also be the SEZs which would handle ship breaking, because the breaking down ships is now a major industry in India. So this would also be the SEZs which would handle that industry. So and this is my favorite one, the West Bengal PCPI, which they had been planned to have been built in Nandigram. There the investor was Salem Group of Indonesia. okay, which is completely discredited in Indonesia. They were welcomed by the West Bengal government, but then the farmers and the people of Nandigram, they set up a heroic fight which you all know about, which has gone into the annals of resistance history in India, and it was prevented. But then what they did, they shifted to nearby to the coast to this around 200 square kilometer in the Haldia, in the mainland, and they took up an entire island, possibly being inspired by the Hainan island in China called Nayachar, which is 50 square kilometers. So a 250 square kilometer area. Brownfield sites, there is a petroleum industry already in Haldia, so they want to make it like that. And Salem has all sorts of crazy ideas about this place. This place basically is an island which we call as chars, which are deltaic islands, which just come up and then they disappear after some time. They want to build this thing over there, and to make it permanent, they actually, so there is a channel of the Ganga, a distributary of the Ganga which separate the mainland from this part. They actually want to fill that up and make it contiguous with the mainland. This is possibly the largest geographical or geological engineering project which they would want to take up in India after this idea to join up rivers. So this is what they do. This is already approved, only there is resistance, that's why this has not been done till now, but we do not know what the new government is going to do to this. So this is basically what the situation in the coast is. And finally, if you look at it, there is the clustering of SEZs in river valleys. This is also a very interesting phenomenon. If you see all the SEZs, you would see that here in Maharashtra they are clustered on the Narmada Tapti valley. Here they are clustered on the Kaveri valley. In Andhra Pradesh they are clustered in the Godavari delta. In Orissa in the Mahanadi delta. In West Bengal around the lower Gangetic delta. And everywhere they have got some special arrangement, special exemption where they are going to get water free from existing irrigation facilities, existing dams, etc. Okay. For example, in the Bharat Forge SEZ in Maharashtra, there is a big struggle against it because they are going to get land from the Koyna reservoir for free. Here, the Shalboni SEZ was supposed to get land for free. Okay. So I'm done here. So and Kaveri, you know the water problem which is there. So there is already struggle over water. So this is the type of resource grabbing which I have been talking about. So, and then the environmental impact of SEZ. This is pictures from one of the existing SEZs in Falta, where I have been trying to organize a trade union over there. There are no trade unions allowed in these things in the SEZ. And you can see this is an unit, it's just beside a village. There's just a barbed wire fence in between, and all the plants are covered with this black soot over there. Alright, and all the water bodies have now this red color of water. Okay, and the major industry in this SEZ is basically what they call kachra industry. Basically, garbage from all over the world come over there. Women, they sort it out by hand, and that goes for recycling. Everything comes. Means I think even nuclear waste. I have seen medical waste, biological waste, all sorts of things. This is the major industry in this SEZ. Now the last thing. Question is, where are there no SEZs, and does it indicate anything to us? Okay. You would see, interestingly, Bihar doesn't have any SEZs. Okay. UP also nearly doesn't have any SEZs. This is not because their governments are not neoliberal or are anti-capital. This is because of the specific caste politics in Bihar, where the major landowning class is also the caste which is the major supporter of Nitish Kumar. So Nitish Kumar doesn't want to alienate this caste by taking over this farmland. This caste has actually got land over the last 20 years or so. Okay, so there is a reason which we can talk about in the discussion time. And in Uttar Pradesh, the same reason actually, because the caste politics is such. And then you would see there is a single answer where the no SEZs is the one word answer is resistance. There is Nandigram, Dhinkia, where POSCO is, Raigarh, Amritsar, these are the places where people have been able to stop SEZs. And the most interesting feature in this map is that if you see this area in the central part of India, okay, ranging from this extreme western part of West Bengal, Orissa,